Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're in Tucson, Arizona for the Tucson Classics Car Show. This is a big event, and it's a little toasty today, but I'm telling you, there are some hot cars here, some 450, and they're coming from all over southern Arizona. I've seen stuff I've never seen before, and I can't wait to see even more. Let's get around and check some of these babies out. Hey Lee, how you doing?
Hi Dennis, good to see you.
Man, this is a heck of a show you got going here. This is big.
It sure is. 450 cars, 20,000 people, lots of food, lots of vendors. Almost of equal importance is that the event supports 3 charities in Tucson. That's
which is really cool. That's one of the great things about the car hobby in general. And you guys, you've been doing this for what, 17 years?
This is the 17th annual Tucson Classics Car Show.
This is late October. We see some Halloween themed cars here. But it's kind of toasty still. Yeah. Well, we got here early because it is warm. We knew it was going to get warm. And we rolled in at 8 o'clock and the field was almost full. Yep. And you run out of space at what, about 400 cars?
Yeah, what we did was we learned from experience that we try to bring as many cars as we can in on Friday.
Yeah.
So we get about 100 cars in on Friday, which makes the Saturday event a little less stressful in the morning when people are anxious to get their cars on the field. And the other thing we try to do is avoid keeping the cars waiting in line because they overheat.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Especially the old ones.
And the big blocks. They don't like it at all.
Yeah.
At all. So do you draw from a wide range, or is this kind of a, southern Arizona show?
I would say southern Arizona with some people coming in from out of town. I mean, we do have some folks from Phoenix are Phoenicians. We do have some folks from Phoenix coming down with their cars.
I've seen some really interesting cars. There's people have brought out some crazy stuff here.
They're really good at it. So, especially the Halloween theme, it helps in terms of the entertainment value.
Yes, it does. And I'm telling you, spectator-wise, it's packed and people are still streaming in.
Yeah, like I said, throughout the day we get that huge number of people.
Well, I think it's awesome. I've seen some great cars. What do you say we get around and look at a few?
Pleasure.
All right, man, let's do it. Bill, this is really an eye-catching car, I must say. And I have never seen one. This is what you say is a 65 Kellison?
Yes.
Okay, what's the story of Kellison?
Jim Kellison was an aircraft mechanic from the Korean War, learned how to work with fiberglass, and ended up building bodies.
Where? California?
In Folsom, California.
Okay.
He moved around some, and this was a J5, the 5th of this series model. And he sold them, you'd see them in the back of Hot Rod magazine or anything like that.
Right.
And originally, they would fit on a C1 Corvette chassis.
Pretty much drop right on? Or?
Well, nothing's,
nothing
that
drops
simple.
But in theory.
Yes, in theory, yeah. And I understand that he even bought a few Corvettes and put the bodies on them.
Oh, and
sold them.
Oh.
And sold all the parts off that he didn't use.
How many did he make?
It's unknown exactly because the fire destroyed all of his records, but somebody said that he confessed to making about 600 of these.
That many?
Yeah,
No
but
kidding.
they're almost impossible to finish. So if you find one, it's unfinished.
I imagine in that fire, did it also take the bucks that these were built off of, or?
No, he was so busy making these that he farmed it out to a couple other fiberglass shops too.
Oh, so the bucks still exist here and there?
There's somebody making
Oh, no kidding.
replacement bodies with flip-up front end.
Oh, kind of Jaguar-esque.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
This is 65, but when was he manufacturing these?
The first ones, as far as I know, were in '59.
Wow, it goes back a long way.
Yeah, and he had smaller models, the J1 through 4, that he started even earlier than that. And then he went on, he was involved in Kelmark, kit cars, and a bunch of other stuff. He made bodies for slingshot dragsters and all kinds of imaginative stuff. The history is really great.
Where'd you find this body?
This came from California in wine country. I have no idea how many people owned it before. That's the usual case. People dream about it, they make modifications, and they never finish them.
Right. What kind of shape was that? It wasn't in this shape.
No, the roof was broken off. It was twisted. It was in rough shape. It's been sitting in a pole barn for many years.
My goodness. I recognize some pieces. It's got pieces from all sorts of things, right? So when I saw these wipers, I thought, these are little. Are they Jaguars?
Yeah, no, they're Ford pickup truck.
Okay.
From the 40s.
From the 40s.
The motor and transmission in the windshield wipers is from Toyota.
Okay.
But I was able to get adapters to fit these, and I redid the transmission so they sweep the old-fashioned way.
Okay. And then this little spear here, that looks...
That's 58 Cadillac.
Okay, how about the door handles?
Those are Fiat, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo, all
Basically
the same handle.
The Fiat parts band.
Yeah,
right?
really.
And how about your mirrors?
Mustang.
Okay. Kind of a weird shaped windshield.
This is
that special?
Studebaker.
Oh, no kidding.
First production curved windshield.
It was like the 53.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that right?
You know, the thing is, because he was making these to be made by people who had no access to other stuff, a lot of this was designed to fit junkyard stuff
Right,
of the
stuff
day.
you could go get,
You know?
right?
Yeah,
Well, then the interior, can you open it up?
sure.
Ah, jeez. It's just, it's cozy, isn't it?
Yeah, but actually I can fit with a helmet on.
No kidding.
No
Wow.
kidding. The first one that I made, this is my second. I made one in Waterbury, Connecticut back in 1966. And it sat on a frame that was designed for it.
Uh-huh.
But you sat on top of the frame like it did in a C1
Yeah,
Corvette.
sure.
And this is so short, I could hardly fit my head, never mind the helmet.
Right, right.
So I designed this frame so I'm sitting much lower.
So you dropped it down.
And I can sit there with a big hat on even. you know?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great looking instrument cluster and everything.
Yeah, I designed that and had an upholstery shop actually do it.
I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, the thing's it's stunning. I love it. It's got to be a lot of fun, too.
But we tried to make it look like it could have been made in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, and to a certain extent, we think we did that.
How about the back window?
That's 49 Cadillac Dynamic Sports Coupe. Talk about rare, but they
I
are
was gonna
reproducing
say.
them.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe that. And this was the Kellison logo?
And one of them, yeah. And-
Buick?
53 Buick,
53 Buick Corvette?
if I remember right. Yep, 62, but reshaped for the to be correct.
But you know, it's really interesting because it's wide, kind of hippie.
Well,
And then she's squashed,
I made it a little wider. I had
Did
to put
you?
about an inch on each side so that the tires would fit.
puffed it up a bit.
So I widened the fenders a little, and I don't like flares, so that's why it's not flared.
Well, you know, and I think it's a great looking car, but to me, this is the shot. I love the rear 3/4. I just think it's such a unique looking car. There's even a little cheetah in it,
Yep, yep.
you know, just a touch. So what's powering?
But Cheetah should have a nice looking rear end like this.
It's kind of a little weird. So what power? Let's go see what powers
Sure.
this. Wow, that looks nice. Are we looking at a
You're looking
LS?
at a LS1,
Okay.
and it has a 6-speed transmission. The valve covers are from a GTO, and I just carved off GTO and
One of the
and
new the
put
new
the
GT.
Kellison in there.
Oh wow. Wow. She sits back a little ways. Yes.
A long
no?
ways.
Yeah.
But it stays cool. I got an aluminum radiator in there.
Uh-huh.
I could idle forever in 100-degree heat with the air conditioning on.
Wow.
In this car, it was so hard to put windows in. You'll almost never find any with actual roll-up windows.
Right,
You have side curtains
side
at the
curtains.
most, and that's what I had on my first one. But here, I
did it.
spent almost a year on the doors, getting power windows and all that in there.
Wow. And you built the frame and everything too.
Yeah, on my garage floor.
You got some skills, man. Do people
I
dig this
spent a lot
car?
of time. Oh, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Let me tell
Really,
you.
just driving down the road, it's like I'm driving like a Lamborghini or something, you know.
Well,
but
you know,
it's like
honestly-
nothing they've seen.
Well, exactly. It's actually more
Yeah.
exotic.
Yeah,
Because you will never see one of
I
these.
was trying to think, what's my next car? And I just can't come up with anything that'll be as unique as this.
It's really, this
You
is
know?
really. Did he make his own hood scoop, or is that grafted in from something else?
No, that's the way it came.
My
It was
goodness.
closed up,
Uh-huh.
so I opened it and put the grill in it.
It's just awesome. I love this car. 1965, sort of. Kellison J5? Was it?
Yes, J5.
What a car. Bill, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much,
man.
Dennis.
I love it. Well, Alan, this is a Trabant, right?
Yes, it's a,
This is a very weird car. And if you know the show, you know I like weird cars.
Yes, you do.
And this one fits the bill. So I don't see many of these. It's a really old design. I tend to think of these things from the mid 60s. They're really an East German before the wall came down car, right?
Yes.
But this is not a mid 60s car.
No,
This is
it's a 1987.
but it looks like a 64.
Yes, yes. This car was built from 64 to 91, and they just didn't change anything. Very minor things. It got 12 volt in the 1980s. They got 3-point harnesses in like 84. So overall, it's a very primitive car. But again, it was built for the people over there.
A primitive car built in 1987. Right?
Yes, yes.
Well, the other thing, and I didn't know this, I didn't know that these things are not steel cars.
No.
They're
no.
also not fiberglass cars.
No.
What are they?
Yeah, some people will say they're made out of cardboard, but that's not correct either. They're made out of Duroplast, and Duroplast is basically a wool fiber jacket that was ground up, the leftovers. They take that, they compress it with a resin and heat, and basically compress it to make the body panels that are then bonded to the light bit of steel that's on this car.
So this is a composite body, if you will, but the composite is made from old wool coats.
Wool coats and recycled pieces. So you could technically call it the first green car if you can call a two-stroke car green.
Green, right, exactly. So I mean everything, the hood, the top, it's all this Duroplast?
Duroplast, yeah. So fenders, hood, roof, you name it, they put it on there. And light bit of steel to bond it all together.
That is just, now is that stuff heavy or is it light?
It's very, very light. So the whole car weighs in right around 1,300 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But you need that though, because it only makes 26 horsepower.
On a good day.
On a great day, yes.
Well, and I bet these fog lamps add some weight to it. That probably cost you, probably at least a horsepower right there.
Yeah, and those were actually an option for the car, depending on what trim level you got. This car is actually an S, but it has some deluxe features.
Ooh.
AKA, I got fog lights, but an
Wow.
S model, I got a radio antenna, and I got a cigarette lighter inside.
Wow, okay.
And some ashtrays, because you needed that.
Is this the original color of the car?
Yeah, this color is called papyrus white.
Uh-huh.
It's not really white. Some people refer to it as a tan color. But
It is
yes.
really kind of a beige,
Yeah.
Wow, but it's, it does have fabric that looks like, well, in fact, it still looks older than that.
Yeah, as you can see right here, we've got some 1970s interior. And as I said before too, if you got a deluxe model, you got headrests. I don't have headrests. But inside, we actually have the petcock to turn the fuel on.
Oh, great.
I have a radio, which makes me kind of special. But then I don't really have any other creature comforts.
How about the fuzzy dash tray?
So that is part of the S package. If you got a base model, you didn't get that package tray, which is a great thing to have. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is just insane. Is that original fabric?
That is original interior, all the way across, right down to the woolish felt type material on the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, including the back seat. Doesn't even have seat belts back there because they never came with them.
Is that the gas pedal that's over on the passenger side?
Yeah,
Basically?
in the middle of the car. So the greatest part about that is, if you got a passenger, I guess you got cruise control. They can help you out a little bit.
Wow, and this is just too cool. I mean, and it even sounds kind of.
It sounds extremely hollow. So as we were talking about, you can actually see up underneath, this is that Duroplast material.
Oh, right.
But as you can see too, this trunk is very roomy.
Is.
That's a full-size suitcase. So you and all your friends could pile in and get on over to wherever you're going.
So this was the only car for East Germans, basically, or pretty much?
Pretty much. There was another car. If you were an executive or like a high-ranking person, you could get a different car. But for the most of the masses, this was the car. And you waited up to 12 years to get a car. There's actually stories of people getting their first car and waiting, putting in for the second car, getting the second car 12 years later, but getting rid of the brand new car. And they would keep the first car because the second car was so valuable in the trade economy.
Wow.
Yeah. There's also stories of people using used cooking grease to wax the car to keep the car even in better shape too.
Well, let's go see the massive power plant that moves us down the road.
Yeah, let's go check that out. As you can see, as we open up this massive power plant here, we've got a 2-cylinder, 2-stroke, 600 cc's. It's actually 598 if you want to get technical, but it's an air-cooled motor with a gas tank right on top.
Parallel twin?
Parallel twin, making all of 27 horsepower.
Wow.
Single barrel carburetor coming down, and the greatest part is too, as I said, no fuel pump, no water pump, Nothing really to go wrong. Super, super easy to use too.
So it's air cooled, huh?
It is air
It is
cooled.
air cooled.
It is air cooled.
And yet this jacket's on there?
Yeah, so over there they have the jackets because it gets cold. They're more worried about that initial first start. But people always ask, being here in Arizona, how does it do in the heat? Does great. I've run the car at 110, 115 degree days outside, no problems.
Wow.
Guys have driven them all the way across Africa too.
Jeez. And was there a heater? I mean, did it pipe any heat in like the V-dubs or not?
So yeah, your heater is actually coming off this expansion chamber.
Oh, okay.
Comes in here, and there's 3 knobs on the inside to bring that heat inside.
And it's a front wheel drive car.
Front wheel drive car with a reverse leaf spring, both front and back.
Oh, wow. What a kick. Do people even know what this is?
So I get a lot of comments. People think it's a Russian car. They guess wrong. They think it's an Opel. They think it's a Skoda. They think it's something else. But no, either they know what it is or they have no idea. But the greatest part is they get educated and get to see it.
And people dig it.
People love it.
It's kind of a happy car, you know?
It is beyond a happy car. The amount of smiles that you get just driving this around. I can't take it to the gas station without it being a 30-minute fill up.
Well, plus, I mean, it's a 2-cycle, so you've got to mix anyway.
Yep, I got to bring my oil with me, and I bring a little container. But over in East Germany, they didn't have that problem. They could get pre-mix right from the tank.
40 or 50 to 1?
33 to 1,
33 to 1.
Or a 45 to 1. This being a later car, this wants 45 to 1.
I see.
Yeah.
Gosh, close it back up. This thing's a kick. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I got to meet this cat. So the most amazing thing to me about this car is that it's a 1987, because it sure don't look like it.
No, it does not, no.
1987 Trabant, what?
So this is what they call a 601.
Trabant 601.
601.
S.
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 Ellen, awesome.
Thank you.
Trabant, I love it. Jim, we meet again.
Yes, we do.
It was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I think we shot a show down in Tucson,
Correct.
Arizona. And you had it was a Coronet, wasn't it?
1968 Coronet 500.
Really an interesting car. And lo and behold, I'm going down the show field and I find another really interesting car, and who owns it? You do.
I enjoy building interesting cars. That's kind of what I do.
So this is a 63 Dart?
Correct.
Dart. And did you build this thing?
I did. Yep.
Wow.
This is
So where did you find it?
Found it on Craigslist. After my Coronet, my wife said, I want a classic car. She found this convertible. She's always wanted a convertible and said, build that car for me. So I built the car for her.
So you built the car for her. Was it in decent shape or?
It was a original Tucson car, so
solid.
people would think it's solid, but these are rust traps. There's places where
really?
mud gets in, especially convertibles. Mud gets in there and it just rusts out, especially in the rear quarter panel. So I did have to put a bunch of patches in the back.
Oh, really? Because I bet nobody's repopping quarters for this car.
Absolutely not.
Gee, go figure. But you always hear about Arizona cars and they're solid and all that. And even if that's true, they still have baked interiors.
Correct.
Just completely baked
Correct.
out. So I'm sure that was the case.
Just the interior was baked.
Baked. Wow. So how long did it take?
It takes me about 18 months to go from start to finish.
That was kind of the number for the Coronet too.
Correct.
I mean, you really work fast.
Right, and I was working full time at that time too. I'm retired now, so I should be able to turn them faster.
Yeah, really. So a whole 18, what's going on, man? So how about like all the little lettering and stuff, was that all there?
Everything was here, yeah. That was one thing you gotta be careful on these early ones, is it's hard to, these trim rings, these trim rings are gold.
Really, eh?
Yeah, because people would run into stuff and dent them and crush them.
Well, they're surprisingly big.
I call them torpedo launchers.
Does kind of look like that, doesn't it? Is that a factory color?
It's a color, yes, this is a factory dark turquoise.
Gosh, it looks
The car
great.
was originally white, but I had to change it.
What are your wheels? American Racing or?
The American, US Mags. US Mag slots.
Looks great, looks great. And I obviously you've redone the interior. Was it originally this two-tone or is this a stock
To be
pattern?
honest, I don't know because it was
so
an Arizona.
far
Well, it was an Arizona car and it had already been reupholstered once.
Oh, I
so
see.
I don't know what it really looked like, but this is a factory pattern. I found what the factory pattern looked like and had a local guy here in Tucson actually try to reproduce.
Well, what's really interesting is this setup. The armrest back here, this kind of cove. What is that? Is that metal or?
Fiberglass.
It's fiberglass.
This is fiberglass.
See, that I'd never noticed that before. That's kind of stylish. Very very Dodge Dash.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
With the push-button
With
trans.
the push-button trans.
So it was a Dart 270? What was that designation?
Similar to the Coronet 500. It's
a number.
It's a number that kind of defines the trim package.
Okay. And what was special about the 270? I mean, well, obviously it's a convertible, or this one is anyway.
270 should have had moldings all the way down the side for chrome. The wife didn't like them. Off they go, and they actually accentuated how big those headlights were because it was like an arrow pointing right to them.
If you didn't think they were big enough, look at this.
Look at this. Well, that was what 63 was about, right? Is showing
true.
off those big headlights.
Yep.
And so those are gone.
Is that a padded dash or not? That's a metal dash, isn't it?
It's a metal dash. You didn't need a padded dash until 65, I think.
And they didn't put one in until then.
And if you didn't order it, you didn't get it.
Wow. A new carpet kit, obviously, too. This is, this is cool. You left the trim here.
So you actually have to, because the way this is made is these are two pieces of metal that are welded underneath here. So you have to have that on there.
And then back to, these, was this the same tail light as 62 or similar?
No,
totally
63, 64. 64 had a little bit of chrome around the edges just to kind of trim it off a little bit. But those are not repop, so those are another piece of this that are very difficult to get.
Well, let's go see what's under the hood of this massive 270.
All right.
Open her up, Jim. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of expecting a slant 6.
63, that was the only option you could get.
Then that was a good expectation.
Yes.
But I wasn't expecting this weird manifold setup. That's not dual quads. Is it dual twos?
Dual singles.
Dual singles.
Yep.
Wasn't that what like Hudson's twin H-Power? Wasn't that dual singles?
I believe so.
It's kind of reminiscent of that.
Yes.
That's not a factory option, was it?
That is not a factory option. When the slant 6s were developed and came out in 60, Offenhauser saw the potential for the slant, getting the hood down, low center of gravity, so they were thinking racing right off the beginning.
Yeah.
So Offenhauser immediately came out with that 2 one-barrel carburetor manifold for the racing circuit.
2 one-barrel seems really weird to me, though. Are they really big barrel? I mean, it's a big throughput, or it's just...
So you got to remember that when these cars were done, it was a 170 motor, not a 225.
Oh,
so
right.
you really didn't need a lot of CFM. They were small engines.
And, it's funny, and maybe it's just because of that offset manifold setup, the valve cover looks abnormally big to me, but it's not.
It is not.
That is just how it would look.
That is just how they look.
It's just because you can see it. Because, I mean, if it was normal, there would be a big regular air cleaner sitting here.
Yeah, correct. There would be a much larger air cleaner that kind of partially covered the valve cover. Correct.
Because that valve cover looks huge.
Yep.
Wow,
correct.
I mean, you've done a nice job. And you got body color in the engine compartment. That's a total Mopar thing.
That's a total
Mopar thing. You wouldn't miss it. And everything looks great. You even dressed up the steering box. Is that what I'm looking at down there?
Yeah, I bead blasted it and clear coat all my. I mean, these are ground up restorations with every nut and bolt cleaned, polished, painted.
You're excessive.
And I do it to the point so it's easy to maintain afterwards.
Well, that's true. He does clean up.
Right,
nice.
It cleans up super simple, and it looks better. It maintains.
This setup, I've never seen this setup. I love it. I think I'd drive around with the hood open. I think it's that cool. Close it back up. It's just a great, fun-looking car. And I bet your wife really digs it.
I don't know. She never drives it because I've always got it.
Well, tell her it's nice.
Okay. But she is very excited about this. So her car is going in the interview with you. So
yay! So it's a 1963 Dodge Dart 270 convertible with a hyperpack. What's that called?
So they had a hyperpack option add-on racing kit.
So this is a hyperpack-esque.
Hyperpack-esque is a good way to put it, correct.
Sure, thanks a lot. Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Well, I got another one's coming. So.
Neil, it's an absolutely beautiful car. 62 old Starfire. A good friend of mine actually has one of these, Rick Schmidt, National Parts Depot down in Ocala, Florida, hardtop version. I've never seen the convertible, and oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So, how long have you had this thing?
3 or 4 years now.
Because this is like a 1 year only body, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And were you searching for this car, or was it like, oh, this is cool, I'll just buy this?
No, I wasn't actually searching for it at all. Just happened to see it on the internet advertised. And I was just looking at the video that accompanied the advertisement. And my wife was looking over my shoulder, and she's the one that said, we need to get this.
We need to get this car.
Yes, that's right.
Well, it really is beautiful. And again, 1 year only, this had to be an expensive car to make. Just the amount of trim on this is ridiculous.
Yep.
But you bought it in this condition, right?
Mostly. Just to buff the paint out, it had been sitting for a little bit, but the work had been done.
Yeah?
So,
Where did you find it though?
I found it up in Illinois.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
And it's this solid? You found it in Illinois?
Yeah, but I think it was when it was restored, it was then used as a only show car type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe driven to the shows and then put away.
I've seen very few of these, and they're always in this color combo, but they had a couple others. I think there was
They did, yes.
But this one just, to me, it's like, wow. And I absolutely love the side trim. And what amazes me is the condition of this stuff, because I don't know that anybody's repopping it, and this is just perfect. It's all like, it's brushed aluminum, isn't it? Or,
Yes, it's brushed aluminum.
and most of the side trim is stainless steel.
Right.
So that just cleans back up pretty nicely.
Yeah, as long as it's not dented up.
Yeah, but this is pretty complicated too. There was so much going on with this car, you didn't want to hit anything with it, because like tapping it back out would be pretty tricky, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think one of the coolest things about this car, and there's plenty of cool things about this car, but I was talking about how complicated the outside is. The inside's even more complicated.
Yes.
The amount of fabrics in here, this was an expensive car.
It was. It was one of the top of the line Oldsmobiles back in the day.
It had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be. And that was, that's one of the best steering wheels ever on a car.
Yeah.
I mean, it dishes down forever, and it's just, hot rodders love those things. So I would hang on to that if I were you.
Yeah.
So that's your tack on the console, right?
That's a tack.
And if I recall, the speedometer is a ribbon, isn't it?
Yes.
But it changes colors or
Yeah,
something?
so it starts off with green,
Yeah.
and then as you get up to about maybe 35, it turns to orange.
Yeah.
And then around 60, it'll turn to red. And beyond that, I haven't discovered what color.
As you make the jump to hyperspace,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Wow, and I've always found this to be kind of nice too. It's very three-dimensional.
Yep.
It's like printed in front, and then it kind of falls off in back. And that's the only place you see that color in this car, that kind of...
With the green in the background?
Yeah, the blue-gray or whatever you call it.
Right.
Because it is very eye-catching, because it's the only place that color is.
Yeah, it lights up at night.
Oh, does it?
With the dash lights,
Ooh,
so it's kind of neat.
That's really nice.
Neat,
Oh,
yeah.
man. And nice tonneau cover here. Again, your trim on the side is great. Plenty of body lines and curves and stuff.
Yep.
And these, Oldsmobile was always into rockets and stuff, and these always look like thrusters to me.
Right.
And, actually a really elegant, kind of complicated bumper there, which looks re-chromed, maybe?
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
no?
sure it was. I'm sure it would be pitted by now if it hadn't been.
Yeah, and there's a fair amount that would not be a cheap bumper to re-chrome
No.
either. Well, so the Starfire was powered by, let's go see what the Starfire is powered by.
Okay.
Wow, she's nice and pretty in here too.
Yeah, I tried to keep it clean.
So you've added electronic ignition, which is
Correct.
makes it easier.
Yes.
What, any other mods or?
Yes, it's got original radiator has been replaced. If you look on the side, you can see that it's
Oh, yeah.
aluminum.
Right.
And then underneath here is an electric fan to help push air to keep it cool.
Well, you are in Arizona.
Yes.
It's a convertible. Was she AC? Does it have AC?
No AC.
No AC. So it's like, keep that top down.
Yep.
And it came with that chrome air cleaner. That was
Yes.
stock.
And the valve covers.
Starfire
Yeah.
ultra high compression.
Yeah.
Which was, I don't know what it was, 10 to 1?
I believe it's 10 and a quarter,
Oh,
10
is
and
it?
3/4
10 and 3/4.
to
Wow,
1.
that
Yeah.
that actually is pretty high. And the chrome valve covers were part of the stock?
Yes.
Is it still running a generator?
Yes, it's still a generator. And also a single,
Oh, single master cylinder.
Master
That's scary.
it is scary.
If you've ever popped the line, you realize how scary that is.
Better know where your emergency
Boy,
brake is.
I'll say.
Yes.
Or have a good run out.
Yeah.
Wow, she's just, close it up. It's just a gorgeous car. Wow.
Yep.
So, have you been to this show, the Tucson show before?
Yes, last year we came to this show.
So you must like it. You're back.
Yes, I like it. It's a great show, and as long as the weather holds out, which it is today. Last year we got rained on about 5 times.
It rains in Tucson?
Yeah, and I'm sure they were celebrating here, but we weren't.
Did you do well last year with it?
Yes, actually, at this show, it's pretty much the exhibitors that vote amongst themselves in the different classes. And I guess enough people liked our car where we got first place in our class
Well,
last year.
And you're on TV now, so obviously
Life's good.
Yes, life is good. So is your car, '62 Starfire convertible.
Yep.
My goodness, Neil, thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you. Okay.
Way cool. Well, Jim, 75 Bricklin with an attitude.
It definitely is.
I gotta say, I've never seen one blown. That's new. And you got a great spot here. You're back by the VIP tent.
Right.
People are partying, having a good time. This is crazy. What's the story? How do you get to a blown Bricklin?
Well, you got to be unique, have
gotta be
something
unique.
different that nobody else has.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife had a Bricklin in high school, so I was kind of looking at Bricklins online and
Oh, so
ended
it's
up.
actually her car, huh?
Yeah, well, she's a little afraid with hers didn't have the blower on it, so
Most
yep.
of them don't.
Yeah, this had some issues with it when we bought it, but we just spent a year going through the whole car, bringing it back to show quality.
So wait, you said she had a Bricklin in high school?
She did.
That's another rarity.
Yep.
Because these things are
1982, she drove a
Wow.
75 Bricklin.
unbelievable. Because these are really unique cars. They were I don't know, very innovative in a lot of ways.
They were.
It's a composite body, not fiberglass, but
It's a gel coat.
gel coat.
Yep.
And
gel.
that's another part of it is it's not painted.
No, this is the original gel coating still on the
It's
car.
like in the gel coat. I mean,
Yep.
it's the body.
Yeah.
Can you buff through that or?
It's really thick. You could, but I
But
mean,
it's
if it
that
gets
thick.
scratched, you can sand through it and
Unbelievable.
you can buff it back out.
I never owned. They only came in 4 safety colors.
Yep.
This was one of them. And
This was considered safety red.
even though it's orange.
It looks very
It
orange,
looks
but it was
very orange
safety
to me.
red.
And there was a green, and there was a white, and there was a
Suntan.
suntan.
Tan.
Yeah. They were made up in Canada, New Brunswick.
Yeah,
I
New
believe.
Brunswick in St.
Malcolm
John's.
Bricklin.
Yep.
And it was a private government partnership that had its own issues, but
Right.
but they were really all about safety back
It
in the
was.
time. This was a special
Yeah, it
bumper.
had safety bumpers
Safety
on it.
bumpers.
Has big 4x7 steel frame on the sides that were supposed to be crunch
Right,
resistant.
right.
Now
Now,
the
they
roll
had-
bar was factory in the car. And
That's right. I forgot about that. Now
Mm-hmm.
they're go ahead and open because the doors are gull wing. That was the other thing about Bricklin. It was just like, oh yeah, that's really cool. But I understand that early on, they had some problems, and you could get if the battery went dead, you could get trapped in
It
there.
was a hydraulic system.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. It's got an air conversion on it now. It's got an air tank in the bumper and a compressor underneath and a selenide board.
Did she ever have that experience?
She did.
Oh,
My
really?
wife got
Seriously?
trapped in her Bricklin. Yep.
So what do you do in that situation?
You climb out the window at the time. That was the only way out. The doors are about 90 pounds, so you could have somebody lift the door, but it's a 90-pound door to lift up.
Well, now this isn't a stock interior anymore, is it? They weren't.
No,
done
they
that.
were all suntan. All the interiors were tan on Bricklins. The seats
really?
have been
No matter
modified.
what-
The race
no matter-
seats were put in, but the rest of the interior is basically still original, just been painted black.
No matter what the car color was, they were all tan interiors.
Yep, they all had tan interiors.
So did you change the dash setup at all?
The gauges, nope, everything's original. It's got the switches on for the water pump and for the fuel pump and the electric fans. The radio was taken out. It had air conditioning and heat, which wasn't enough room for anymore with the big block Chevy in there.
Well, there's going to be plenty of heat coming off of that.
Yeah, it keeps you warm and definitely driving this.
And this is Arizona. You
Right.
don't need heat.
Definitely not.
It comes with the territory. Is that a B&M shifter?
Yeah. Yep.
So that looks really nice. Everything, the whole thing is composite. The whole thing's
Yeah, it was a fiberglass car with gel coat on it. The bird cage is metal, and then the fiberglass panels were laid over it.
You tubbed this thing?
Yep, it's tubbed. It's got a Dana 60 in the back.
My goodness, those are.
18-inch wide tires.
So I bet if the motors aren't working, that could come down quick.
It would. I actually had an airline blow once while we were at a show, and the airline blew and the door slammed down.
Ooh. So these are all just fake louvers, there and in front, right?
Yep.
And this was added. You didn't.
Yep, spoiler
that didn't
was
come
added.
with Bricklin. Original back here, lenses and everything, all.
Yeah, it's Pantera lenses they used on Bricklins.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, yep. They use the same lens on a Pantera.
Originally, what they come with? They originally came with an AMC engine.
The first year in '74, it was an AMC 360, and then in '75 they went to a Ford 351 Windsor.
Right. Well, this is it's a great looking car. Bricklins are, distinctive, and this one's very distinctive. But of course, you really can't miss this. So
yep, the motor. It's
the hood clears it. Wow, barely, but it does.
Yeah,
Holy mackerel, that looks.
482 cubic inch, big block Chevy, an 871 blower shop blower.
Holy cow!
We're putting out about 760 horsepower on pump gas.
Is it streetable?
It definitely. Yep,
No
I
kidding?
drive it regularly here in Tucson.
Is it loud or not?
Yeah. Sets off car alarms, rattles the neighbors' windows.
Okay, you're one of those guys. Right?
Yeah.
Man, you've really got that shoehorned in there, but it's surprising that it even fits. That's a pretty big compartment, actually.
Yeah. It's the inner fenders had to come out. It's been strutted, and the air conditioning and heater box had to come out to fit the big block in there.
And she comes right up against the fan. Does it stay cool?
In the summer here in Arizona, it creeps a little bit. Yeah, usually from November through April, it runs fine in Tucson. In the summer, it runs a little warm.
Wow. Well, how did you score how did you score the VIP tent spot here? Just because it's so cool?
Oh, we won Best of Show 2 years ago.
Well, that
at this
would
show.
do it, wouldn't it?
Yep, we're returning Best of Show.
Oh, so many of the mods had already been done, but you went on to do a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, it had a blown motor when I bought it, so went through and had Gertie Racing build a new motor for it. The electrical had a lot of issues, so went through and rewired most of the car and went through the braking system just to make it reliable and dependable.
Had it been tubbed and everything?
Yeah.
And what are the size of those wheels?
They're 18-inch wide. It's a
and what
29-inch tall, 18-inch wide.
Yeah, I mean it's just really insane. I mean it's like really over the top.
It's probably the world's most modified Bricklin.
It probably is the world's most modified Bricklin. Jim, it's amazing. 75
nice meeting
Bricklin with an attitude.
It is.
Hey, the Tucson Classics Car Show is really a blast. Kind of warm here, but it's absolutely worth it. Check it out.